Welcome to a journey exploring the most remarkable wonders of the Americas. Stretching over 14,000 kilometers from north to south, the Americas cover an area of about 42.5 million square kilometers, including both North and South America, positioned between the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans. With its massive scale, this region features some of the most diverse landscapes in the world, from towering mountains and dense rainforests to vast deserts and icy terrains. Thousands of years ago, the Americas were the cradle of civilizations such as the Maya, Inca, and Aztec, with cities of tens of thousands of inhabitants, monumental pyramids, extensive road systems, and remarkably advanced knowledge of astronomy. Today, the Americas carry not only historical significance, but also extraordinary natural wonders from Angel Falls, nearly 1,000 meters high, and the Amazon rainforest, spanning over 5.5 million square kilometers, to vast mountain ranges stretching for thousands of kilometers. And now, the journey to explore the wonders of the Americas begins. Gone. Patagonia. At the southern tip of the Americas, where powerful winds rarely stop and nature remains largely untouched, Patagonia stretches across southern Chile and Argentina, covering more than 1 million square kilometers. It is one of the most sparsely populated regions on Earth, where human presence occupies only a tiny fraction compared to the vast natural expanse. Unlike regions shaped by urban history or ancient civilizations, Patagonia was formed over millions of years of geological activity, with glaciers, mountains, and relentless winds constantly reshaping the land, creating a harsh yet captivating landscape. What makes Patagonia truly unique is its dramatic contrast in terrain. Sharp granite peaks, like Fitzroy, rising over 3,400 meters. Massive glaciers such as Perito Moreno, stretching up to 30 kilometers. And turquoise lakes fed by melting ice. Together, they form a scene that is both awe-inspiring and isolating, almost detached from the modern world. Here, the experience goes beyond simple sightseeing. It becomes a journey of conquering nature. Travelers can trek through wind-swept valleys, kayak among floating icebergs, or stand before towering lead walls to witness the slow yet powerful movement of nature. From this wild and unforgiving land, the journey continues to a place that feels completely opposite, where the ground reflects the sky like a giant mirror. Salar do Uyuni. Located at an altitude of about 3,656 meters on Bolivia's Altiplano Plateau, Salar do Uyuni spans over 10,500 square kilometers, making it the largest salt flat in the world. From above, it appears as an endless white surface stretching to the horizon, blurring the boundary between land and sky. This area was formed tens of thousands of years ago when ancient lakes gradually evaporated, leaving behind a salt crust several meters thick, covering the entire surface. That long natural process created one of the most unique landscapes on the planet. Salar de Uyuni transforms during the rainy season, when a thin layer of water just a few centimeters deep covers the salt, turning the entire area into a massive mirror reflecting the sky. Clouds, light, and the horizon merge together, creating the surreal feeling of walking in the air. Beyond just sightseeing, this place offers rare experiences. Visitors can drive across the salt flats, capture mind-bending perspective photos, or spend a night in hotels built entirely from salt. Leaving behind this giant natural mirror, the journey moves into a more humid and intense environment, where water is no longer still, but flows with overwhelming force. Iguazu Falls. Hidden along the border of Argentina and Brazil, Iguazu Falls is one of the largest waterfall systems in the world, with more than 270 individual falls stretching nearly 2.7 kilometers. Set within a vast subtropical rainforest, it impresses not only with its scale, but also with the sheer power of water, plunging from heights of 60 to 80 meters. Formed around 200,000 years ago through volcanic activity and the erosion of the Iguazu River, the entire system is the result of long-term geological changes, shaping steep cliffs and layered cascades. At the heart of Iguazu lies the Devil's Throat, a U-shaped chasm about 150 meters wide and 700 meters long, where millions of liters of water crash down every second with a thunderous roar, creating a dense mist that blankets the area. This raw force makes Iguazu one of the most spectacular sights on Earth. Rather than viewing from afar, visitors can walk along wooden pathways weaving through the falls, or take boat rides that bring them close to the base, fully immersing in the intensity of the rushing water. What creates the immense power and breathtaking beauty that has earned Iguazu Falls its reputation as one of the most spectacular waterfalls on the planet? From the roaring sound of cascading water, the journey continues into a completely different world, where life evolves under its own unique and extraordinary rules. Galapagos Islands. Located about 1,000 kilometers off the coast of Ecuador in the Pacific Ocean, the Galapagos Islands consist of 19 main islands and dozens of smaller ones, formed by volcanic activity around 5 million years ago. Their near-total isolation from the mainland has turned this place into a natural laboratory, where species evolved in distinct ways rarely seen anywhere else on Earth. In 1835, scientist Charles Darwin made observations here that helped shape the foundation of his theory of evolution. Endemic species, such as giant tortoises, weighing up to 250 kilograms, marine iguanas capable of swimming and diving, and Darwin's finches with varied beak shapes have become living proof of adaptation over millions of years. The landscapes of the Galapagos are not defined by lush tropical forests, but by a striking mix of volcanic rock, white sandy beaches, crystal clear waters, and rich marine ecosystems. Visitors can snorkel among coral reefs, swim with sea lions, or observe wildlife up close without disturbing their natural habitats. Leaving behind this extraordinary biological world, the journey moves into a harsher land, where life becomes increasingly rare under extreme dry conditions. Atacama Desert. Stretching along the northern coast of Chile, the Atacama Desert is one of the driest places on the planet, covering about 105,000 square kilometers. In many areas, the average annual rainfall is nearly zero, with some locations recording no rain for hundreds of years, creating an environment of extreme harshness rarely seen on Earth. The formation of the Atacama results from a combination of geographical factors, including the Andes Mountains blocking moist air from the east and the cold Humboldt Current along the west coast, preventing moisture from reaching inland. This has maintained its arid conditions for millions of years. Despite this, the Atacama is far from monotonous. Its landscapes constantly shift between vast white salt flats, sharp rocky mountains, geothermal springs, saline lagoons, and terrains resembling the surface of Mars. And the almost permanently clear skies also make it one of the best places in the world for astronomical observation. For visitors, the Atacama offers unique experiences, from watching the sunset over Valle de la Luna, exploring geysers at sunrise, to stargazing under some of the clearest skies on Earth, with virtually no light pollution. From this dry and unforgiving land, the journey continues to a completely different place, where traces of an ancient civilization remain hidden among the clouds and mountains. Machu Picchu. Located at an altitude of about 2,430 meters in the Andes of Peru, Machu Picchu is one of the most remarkable remnants of the Inca civilization, built in the 15th century under the reign of Emperor Pachacuti. Hidden among mountains covered in mist year-round, it remained unknown to the outside world until 1911, when explorer Hiram Bingham brought it to global attention. Unlike ancient cities developed on flat plains, Machu Picchu was entirely constructed from stone on steep terrain, with more than 200 structures connected by intricate stairways and pathways. The stones were fitted together so precisely without mortar that they have endured for centuries, even through earthquakes. Its uniqueness lies not only in architecture, but also in its perfect harmony with nature. Terraced fields following the mountain slopes, advanced water management systems, and thoughtful spatial planning all reflect the exceptional engineering skills of the Inca people. For visitors, the journey here is unforgettable, from trekking along the Inca Trail stretching dozens of kilometers to the moment of standing above and looking down at the ancient city surrounded by a sea of clouds. Leaving behind this city and the clouds, the journey opens into a completely different landscape, where white sands and blue lagoons create an almost unreal beauty. Lencois, Maranhenses. Spanning about 1,550 square kilometers along the northeastern coast of Brazil, Lencois Maranhenses appears like a vast white sheet with countless rippling folds, set within a tropical climate near the Atlantic Ocean. Although often mistaken for a desert, this area actually receives significant rainfall each year, creating a rare landscape unlike anywhere else in the world. Rather than forming through desertification, the region developed over thousands of years as ocean winds carried sand inland, building expansive dunes. Beneath the arimal lies an impermeable rock layer. So during the rainy season from June to September, water collects between the valleys, forming thousands of clear blue lagoons, some reaching depths of 2 to 3 meters. The contrast between white sand and blue water creates a constantly shifting scene, as wind and water reshape the terrain over time. Visitors can walk across the dunes, swim in temporary lagoons, or witness the landscape at its most dramatic when light changes throughout the day. In your opinion, what natural factors create the unique conditions that make Lencois Maranhenses one of the rarest landscapes in the world, combining white sand with seasonal blue lagoons? Leaving behind the rolling dunes and still waters, the journey suddenly shifts to an entirely different setting, where nature reveals its power through massive waterfalls, plunging from breathtaking heights. Angel Falls. Hidden deep within the jungles of Canaima National Park in Venezuela, Angel Falls plunges from a height of about 979 meters, making it the tallest waterfall in the world. The water originates from the summit of Antelope, an ancient tabletop mountain formed over 1.5 billion years ago, part of the Guyana Highlands, one of the oldest geological regions on Earth. Due to its extreme height, the water does not fall in a continuous stream, but is broken apart by strong winds into fine mist before reaching the ground, creating a scene that feels both powerful and almost unreal. During the rainy season, the flow becomes much stronger, making the waterfall more defined and vibrant, while in the dry season, it appears more fragile, almost dissolving into the air. The name Angel Falls comes from American pilot Jimmy Angel, who flew over the area in 1933 and helped introduce it to the world. However, for the indigenous Piman people, the site has long been known as Karapa Kapai Meru, deeply connected to their traditional stories. Reaching the falls requires a long journey by boat and trekking through dense jungle, making the experience even more memorable and immersive. From this towering landscape, the journey shifts toward the open ocean, where ancient mysteries still exist in the vast expanse of water. Easter Island. In the remote South Pacific, more than 3,500 kilometers from mainland Chile, Easter Island emerges as one of the most isolated inhabited places on Earth, covering only about 163 square kilometers. This near-total isolation gave rise to a unique culture, completely distinct from the rest of the world. From around the 13th century, Polynesian settlers arrived on the island and created hundreds of massive stone statues known as moai, some reaching up to 10 meters in height and weighing over 80 tons. These statues typically face inland, as if silently watching over and protecting their communities. What makes Easter Island one of the world's greatest mysteries is how ancient people transported these enormous stone figures from quarries to their final positions without wheels or modern tools. Despite many theories, no single explanation has been universally accepted. Today, visitors come not only to see the moai statues, but also to experience the profound silence of the surrounding ocean, a setting that feels both vast and deeply isolated. As the ocean horizon slowly fades away, a new land appears, one where nature is no longer isolated, but vibrant and full of life. Cocora Valley. Hidden within the Andes of Colombia, Cocora Valley unfolds like a surreal landscape, where slender palm trees rise straight into the sky at elevations above 2,000 meters. Part of the Quindio River Valley and located within Los Nevados National Natural Park, this area features a landscape rarely seen anywhere else. What makes Cocora truly remarkable is the wax palm, Colombia's national tree, which can reach heights of up to 60 meters, making it one of the tallest palm species in the world. These tall, thin trunks with minimal canopy are scattered across rolling green hills, creating a scene that feels both unusual and elegant, like natural pillars rising from the earth. Beyond its visual appeal, the region once faced decline due to exploitation and grazing, but conservation efforts over recent decades have helped restore the ecosystem. Today, Cocora stands as an important ecological symbol of Colombia. Visitors can follow winding trails along the hillsides, cross small wooden bridges, and walk deeper into the light mist covering the valley, where every step reveals a new perspective of the surrounding landscape. Ahead, the natural scenery expands even further, transitioning into a much larger scale, where ecosystems become denser and more diverse than almost anywhere else on Earth. Amazon rainforest. Covering more than 5.5 million square kilometers and stretching across 9 South American countries, The Amazon rainforest is the largest tropical rainforest on Earth and one of the most biodiverse ecosystems on the planet. With an extensive river network, including the Amazon River at around 6,400 kilometers long, this region plays a crucial role in regulating the global climate. Its ecosystem has evolved continuously over tens of millions of years, supporting millions of species, many of which remain undiscovered. From towering ancient trees and rare animals like jaguars and river dolphins, to countless insects and plant species, everything exists within a complex and interconnected biological network. Unlike open landscapes, the Amazon feels dense and immersive, as sunlight rarely penetrates the canopy. The sounds of nature, from insects and birds to flowing water, create an environment that is both vibrant and mysterious. Exploring the Amazon often begins with river journeys through narrow waterways, where dense vegetation nearly closes off the sky above. In that setting, every movement from rustling leaves to distant animal calls makes the environment feel alive and unpredictable. If you had the chance to visit the Amazon rainforest, what would you want to experience most while exploring its jungle, river systems, and incredible wildlife? As the endless green canopy fades behind, the scene ahead opens into a completely different direction, where clear ocean waters reflect the light and bring a sense of calm and relaxation. Fernando de Noronha. Located about 350 kilometers off the coast of Brazil, Fernando de Noronha is an archipelago of 21 islands, covering a total area of over 26 square kilometers. This region has been recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site thanks to its exceptionally rich and well-preserved marine ecosystem. Formed by volcanic activity millions of years ago, the islands feature dramatic cliffs, golden beaches, and remarkably clear waters. Due to its remote location and strict conservation regulations, the natural environment here has remained largely untouched, allowing wildlife to thrive. The highlight of Fernando de Noronha lies in its marine ecosystem. Near the surrounding waters are home to spinner dolphins, sea turtles, and hundreds of tropical fish species, with visibility reaching up to 30 to 40 meters. Mind, this clarity makes it one of the best diving destinations in the world. Exploring the archipelago is closely tied to ocean-based activities, from swimming and snorkeling to observing wildlife in their natural habitat. Beaches like Bahia do Centro are often ranked among the most beautiful in the world for their untouched beauty and tranquility. Leaving behind the crystal-clear waters and vibrant marine life of Fernando de Noronha, the journey continues to another ocean paradise, where endless turquoise hues stretch across the horizon and untouched beauty remains almost perfectly preserved. Los Roques. Located about 160 kilometers off the coast of Venezuela, Los Roques is an archipelago of more than 300 small islands and coral sandbanks, covering over 225,000 hectares. The area has been protected as a national park since 1972 to preserve its nearly untouched marine ecosystem in the Caribbean. Unlike rocky islands, Los Roques was formed mainly from coral and marine sediments over thousands of years, creating stretches of fine white sand surrounded by shallow, crystal-clear water. This unique geology allows the sea to shift from pale blue to turquoise and deep blue, producing a striking color gradient when viewed from above. What makes Los Roques special is its quietness and minimal commercialization. There are no large-scale resorts, only a few small accommodations across the islands, helping preserve it as raw and untouched beauty. The marine ecosystem is also incredibly rich, with coral reefs, tropical fish, and many species native to the Caribbean. Experiences in Los Roques are closely tied to the ocean, from traveling by boat between small islands, snorkeling over coral reefs, to simply enjoying the peaceful atmosphere in the middle of the sea. As the shades of blue slowly fade into the distance, the natural canvas suddenly shifts to a vibrant golden tone, where endless stretches of sand appear and life emerges in a completely different way. Huacachina. In the middle of the arid desert of southern Peru, Huacachina appears as a rare patch of green, located about 5 kilometers from the city of Ica. Covering less than 1 square kilometer, this small oasis is surrounded by sand dunes rising dozens of meters high, creating a landscape that feels completely separated from its surroundings. The water here comes from natural underground aquifers, sustaining the lagoon and vegetation despite the harsh conditions. Since the early 20th century, Huacachina has been a popular retreat for Peru's upper class, as the lagoon was believed to have healing properties. The first structures built around the water during that time laid the foundation for the small community that still exists today. The scenery stands out for its strong contrast between the lush green of the oasis and the endless golden desert. As the light shifts throughout the day, the dunes constantly reshape their appearance, forming dynamic lines and patterns that never stay the same. Exploring Huacachina is often tied to adventure activities, from riding dune buggies across the sand to sandboarding down steep slopes, bringing an intense thrill in the vast open space. Ahead, the natural landscape unfolds in a completely different direction, where a vast body of water lies at high altitude, closely connected to the long history of human settlement. Lake Titicaca. Stretching across the border of Peru and Bolivia at an altitude of about 3,812 meters, Lake Titicaca is considered the highest navigable lake in the world, covering more than 8,300 square kilometers. Set within the vast Altiplano Plateau, its deep blue waters stand out not only for their scale, but also for their significance in the history and culture of the Andes. According to Inca mythology, this is where the sun god created the first rulers, laying the foundation for one of South America's greater civilizations. Even before the Inca, the area around the lake was home to indigenous communities, forming cultural traditions that have lasted for thousands of years. What makes Lake Titicaca unique is not just its altitude, but how people have adapted to the environment. Thus, the floating islands made of reeds by the Uros people are a clear example of human creativity, with entire communities living on structures that can float and shift over time. Exploring this region often involves boat journeys, visiting small islands, and discovering local life across the vast highland setting. If you had the chance to visit Lake Titicaca, what would impress you more, the scenery across the water at over 3,800 meters above sea level, or the unique lifestyle of communities living directly on the lake? As the water slowly disappears behind the mountains, the landscape ahead becomes more rugged, where waterfalls and caves exist together within a remote highland environment. Chapada Diamantina. Located in the state of Bahia in eastern Brazil, Chapada Diamantina spans more than 38,000 square kilometers and features a diverse landscape of rocky mountains, deep valleys, and complex cave systems. The name Diamantina dates back to the 19th century, when the area became a major diamond mining center, attracting thousands of people in search of fortune. After mining declined, nature gradually reclaimed the land, transforming it into one of the most pristine landscapes in Brazil. Towering cliffs, flat-topped plateaus, and rivers cutting through layers of rock reveal a geological structure shaped over hundreds of millions of years. What makes Chapada Diamantina unique is the combination of multiple terrains within one region. From Cachoeira da Fumaça, a waterfall about 340 meters high, to limestone caves with crystal-clear pools reflecting surreal blue light, the area offers a vast and multidimensional natural setting. Exploring here often involves trekking through forests, climbing rocky paths, or venturing deep into cave systems to fully experience the diversity of the landscape. Ahead, the terrain shifts into something even more unusual, where ancient rock formations rise into the clouds, creating a scene almost completely detached from the rest of the world. Valle de la Luna. Located in the Atacama Desert of Chile, Valle de la Luna stretches across an area of several dozen square kilometers within Los Flamencos National Reserve. It is one of the driest and most unusual landscapes in South America, shaped over millions of years by wind, salt, and extreme temperature fluctuation. The entire area was formed from ancient layers of rock and salt, which have been continuously eroded, creating jagged ridges, cracked depressions, and natural formations that resemble the surface of another planet. Maybe because of this, the site is often used to simulate extraterrestrial conditions for scientific research and space testing. With no dense vegetation or visible water sources, Valle della Lunaire offers an almost complete sense of emptiness. Yet this harshness is exactly what makes it so striking. As the shifting sunlight transforms the terrain from pale white and yellow to deep orange and red tones throughout the day. Visitors usually follow designated trails or viewpoints to watch the sunset, when the final light of the day highlights every contour of the desert, turning the landscape into something surreal and perfectly still. As the light gradually fades, the journey comes to an end, leaving behind a sequence of landscapes that stretch from dense rainforests and towering mountains to deserts and oceans, a complete portrait of the Americas. Huascaran. Rising within the Cordillera Blanca range of the Peruvian Andes, Huascaran reaches an elevation of about 6,768 meters, making it the highest mountain in the country and one of the most striking peaks in South America. The entire area lies within Huascaran National Park, which spans more than 3,400 square kilometers and is home to dozens of snow-covered summits, glaciers, and frozen valleys. Geologically, Huascaran was formed through the uplift of the Andes over millions of years, combined with intense glacial erosion. This dual process has shaped its sharp ridges, long glaciers, and the rugged terrain that defines its high-altitude landscape. Beyond its natural significance, the region is closely tied to the survival history of Andean communities who adapted to extreme high-altitude conditions by developing terrace farming and a culture deeply connected to the mountains. Today, Huascaran is a destination for professional mountaineering expeditions, where climbers face thin air, rapidly changing weather, and dangerous icy terrain. In return, they are rewarded with breathtaking views of snow-covered peaks, stretching endlessly toward the horizon. Antelope Canyon, United States. Located near the town of Page in Arizona, Antelope Canyon is a narrow slot canyon formed by flash flood erosion over millions of years in Navajo sandstone. The canyon stretches only a few hundred meters in length, but its depth can reach 30 to 40 meters, with some sections less than 2 meters wide, creating a distinctive, enclosed space. This location began gaining attention in the late 20th century when photographers discovered its unique light effects at midday. As sunlight enters from above, beams pass through the narrow openings and reflect off the canyon walls, producing shifting colors from orange and red to purple depending on the angle. The area lies within Navajo territory, and all visits are managed by the local indigenous community. This not only ensures safety in an environment prone to flash floods, but also helps preserve the cultural significance of the land. Mer for the Navajo people. This is not just a tourist site, but a sacred space connected to nature. The most remarkable experience here is not about scale, but about how light and terrain interact in each moment. Leaving behind this narrow, shifting space, the journey opens into a completely different landscape shaped by water and ice. Banff National Park, Canada. Located in Alberta, Canada, Banff National Park covers more than 6,600 square kilometers and lies within the Rocky Mountains, one of the youngest and still rising mountain systems. The region was primarily shaped by glacial activity during the last ice age, leaving behind numerous lakes, U-shaped valleys, and glaciers that still exist today. Established in 1885, Banff became Canada's first national park after natural hot springs were discovered and began attracting visitors. The development of the Transcontinental Railway quickly turned the area into a major resort destination in North America, while still maintaining much of its natural scale and condition. One of the most recognizable features is the bright turquoise color of its glacial lakes. This color comes from extremely fine rock particles ground by glaciers, suspended in the water and reflecting light at shorter wavelengths. However, the real experience is found beyond crowded viewpoints, along trails that lead deep into pine forests or along glacial valleys, where the landscape becomes quieter and less disturbed. Beyond its natural features, the region is also connected to the history of indigenous communities, such as the Stoney Nakoda, adding a cultural layer alongside the landscape. As you move through different terrain zones, the transitions are gradual rather than abrupt, creating a sense of balance compared to more extreme environments. As the final scenes slowly come to a close, the entire journey across the Americas unfolds like a long stretch of memories. From endless rainforests and arid deserts to icy mountain ranges and isolated islands in the middle of the ocean. Each destination is not just a landscape, but a fragment of nature and history shaped over millions of years. From the stillness of oases hidden within deserts to the raw power of waterfalls, from ancient cities tucked into the mountains to ecosystems that are still evolving, everything comes together to form a vast and vivid picture of the Americas, a continent defined by contrast and grandeur. Thank you for being part of this journey. If you enjoy explorations like this, don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the next episodes, where we'll continue discovering new places, new wonders, and stories that are still waiting to be told.